Welcome to the highlights of the Munster Technological University User-Centred Design Learning Community. The learning community is open to members of the public, and we had extraordinary interest in our launch event hosted on February 4th, 2022. The event was hosted by Josette O Mullane, Innovation and Enterprise Manager in Munster Technological University. George Bullman, Operations Manager at Rubicon Centre, spoke about a new customer-centric programme being developed in the Rubicon Centre, helping entrepreneurs and startups become market-ready. O Grady, Customer Experience Designer in Musgrave, spoke about how Musgrave Retails Partners Ireland have developed their customer-centric culture using design thinking and service design. Josette O Keefe, PhD candidate and part-time UX researcher in the Nimbus Centre, spoke about how UX has helped to bring businesses on a user-centred innovation journey. Finally, Creedon, a lecturer in Munster Technological University, spoke a bit about how the MTU User-centred design learning community came about.
So what will the program look like? So we're going to look at it over around 14 weeks. And we have about 6 modules around it. So you can see the customer is right in the center. So it's all about the customer. This is what it's about, and a customer journey. So at the beginning, we do benchmarking. So in the Rubicon, we have a benchmarking software, and it's got about 7 defined pillars of business within it. It's about, I think, 40 to 50 questions. And we sit down with the companies and we go through this and we take them through this benchmarking exercise. And from that, we can generate a report from them, and we can see where they're strong, where they're weak, and where they need to put in some more effort. So we felt that that's a really good place to start with companies. And with that also, we can do a peer comparison with other companies in their sector or in their industry, so they can compare themselves in the marketplace of where they sit. The next thing we looked at then is design thinking, and Fred is an expert here. And again, like the design thinking, we feel in this process would help to look at evaluating the processes that they have and the products maybe that they're trying to bring to market, and to really think about them and go through the 5 or 7 steps, depending which design thinking model you use, to actually think about that and work your way through it. So we feel that's a really integral part of this program. The next part then is the business model. And the business model, even though a company might be set up and established, when you're bringing a new product to the market, you sometimes have to have a different business model maybe for that product alone. So that's an area we want to look at. And within that business model piece, we like to look at creating, like, what's the value proposition? What will the customer see in this, and why will they want to buy it? So that's the business model part we'll bring in. We then would move on to the customer discovery, and this will go on for a number of weeks. And here it's about identifying your customers and going out and talking to them, your potential customers. So you're not going to them with a product, you're asking the customers, what do they want? What's the problem? And that's really crucial in this program, to figure out what is the customer looking for. After that, then we bring in some other modules. So we're looking at doing some innovation. So again, giving them some tools on innovation, and a lot of stuff on IP and how to protect what you're bringing to the marketplace. And we've got some expertise in that area. And then the last piece then we're looking at is the market and the execution. So in that, in the market, we're looking at like market research. How do you do the market research correctly? How then do you create your market plan? How then do you create the execution plan? So how am I going to bring this now to the market that I've all this done? And then the last piece is delivery. How will I bring this and deliver it to the customer? So that whole section again will be an area where lots of companies get so far and then they kind of fall down here a little bit. So we want to make sure that we bring in the execution piece, that it's ready for market if it's there. So that's the content of the program in a nutshell. And like I say, all based around customer. Thank you for listening. And if anybody is interested in the program, my email is there. It's george.bullman@rubiconcentre.ie, or email Josette or email Fred. You'll find us if you go looking for us. And hopefully some companies or people out there might be interested in going on such a journey with us.
Thanks so much, Josette. And George, I think you can sign Musgrave up for that course. It sounds fantastic, right up our alley. So the CX team that I work in, we were set up 5 years ago, and we would see ourselves that our main mission is to be the voice of the customer. So we really pride ourselves on bringing that voice of the customer to Musgrave, and we do that in a few different ways. So we measure how our current customer experience is, and we do that through things like TNPS surveys, satisfaction surveys, and just speaking to our customers. And then we design for the future. So that's what I'll focus on, because that's my role, where we use kind of service design and design thinking to create new customer-centric solutions. And then a big part of what we do is around culture and creating an innovative culture, a more customer-centric culture. So when I say customer-centric, a lot of businesses, if you ask them, they'll say, yeah, we're customer-focused, like we really are focused on our customers. And those kind of businesses tend to focus on getting their customers to buy what they're selling. So it's very much, we have this, and how can we get as many people as possible to buy it? Customer-centric means that you're thinking like a customer. So you're being really empathetic, you're really trying to identify what are your customers' needs and how can you create them, and how are you actually changing your business to suit their needs, rather than trying to just get them to buy what you're already doing. The method that we mostly use within our team is the double diamond or design thinking. As George alluded to, there's a couple of different versions of this. This is the one that we use. It has a mix of convergent and divergent thinking. It always starts with the consumer, so it's always about discovering what they want, creating loads of ideas and testing those with the consumers. Why we do it, I suppose, there's a lot of studies out there. The most famous one is probably this one from McKinsey in 2018, that said that actually people who adopt a design mindset or design thinking tools within their business outperform the industry benchmarks. There's a thing called the ladder of mastery in CX or service design. Where we are is somewhere between kind of saying and doing. We've adapted a lot of the principles. We have a lot of projects delivered now through design thinking mentality. We have a team in place. We have a director of innovation who now sits on the executive. So it's certainly becoming more ingrained in our business, but we do have more to do. So one of the things that we are doing is training other people within the business to become design thinkers. So we run a design thinking academy. This is our first year when we could do it in person, and it was great. We've been running it online since then. So at the moment, we're in our third cohort. So at the end of April, we'll have 100 people in the business who are trained in design thinking. And that means they can bring the tools back to their back to their division, back to their projects, and it spreads it across the business. Our training is in partnership with Hellon, who are a service design agency, and it takes place over 4 months. They learn all the different stages of the design thinking process, and they work on a live business project at the same time. So that gives them an understanding of the importance of working on diverse cross-functional teams, and also it shows the business that, you know, here's something that we applied to a problem we have, and here's an innovative solution that's come out of it. So it works well for us as kind of internal PR as well. I suppose that's all part of our kind of transformation vision. So you can't transform a company or a culture with just a small cohort. We need to spread the word out there. So by kind of training up all these other people, we're empowering them to become more customer centric, and we're moving towards that being the entire culture for Musgrave. Recognize there's a lot of innovation models out there, and this is only one of them. So what we've been doing, we established an insights and innovation department last year, and we've been taking design thinking, but working it in with other innovation models. So the business model canvas, design sprints, agile, and using them to kind of create more innovative culture. So we've designed now an innovation process that's completely customer centric, that uses all of these kind of various tools of, you know, is it desirable, is it viable, is it feasible, so that we can test things and launch them quickly, or we can test things and say, no, that's not going to work. which is very new for us, and a new way of doing things, but has been working really well so far. So that's it. I wanted to go quickly, Josette, because I knew we were under time, so hopefully that was okay.
Thanks very much, Josette. So hi everyone. So my name is Michelle. As I said, I'm a part-time UX researcher and designer in the Nimbus Centre. I'm working there now with the past, I suppose, 5 years. So basically today I'm just going to give you an overview on the user-centred design that we actually do within the centre, as well as how we do it, what kind of steps are involved and who's involved in it as well. Okay. Perfect. So you should be able to see that now. So I suppose just to start off, there might be people on the call who've never heard of user-centred design or never heard of the term UX or user experience. So just very quickly, I'm just going to explain what user experience actually is. So user experience is the overall experience a person has while they're using a particular product or service, especially in terms of how easy or how pleasing it is to use. Because when you're using your product or service, you want it to be simple, you want it to be easy, and most of all, you want to enjoy using it and go back using it again. So it's the process design teams use to create product or service that provide meaningful and relevant experiences to the end user. So as a UX researcher and designer, it's our job then to create a product or service that provides the best possible user experience for that end user. And being an integral part of any design, the design of the user experience should be a well thought of process and shouldn't become an afterthought or come after the product or service is designed. It should be part of the entire process. So then I'll just touch on the UX research and design teams. So we've been delivering innovative solutions across many different sectors, including medtech, fintech, and e-learning solutions, along with many more. So what do we actually do? So I suppose as part of our user-centred design process, we conduct in-depth research with real-world users. So we want to understand how they think, how they behave, and how they feel, so that every single decision or every single design that we make is backed by real-world data. So basically, we want to take a client on a journey with us. So we don't just meet the client on day one. They tell us what they want, and they will say, perfect, we'll do that, see you in 3 months' time. We bring them along with us and we make them, get them involved in everything that we do. So we engage them through either in-person or online workshops, and we like to bring them into the research and design activities we do so that they have a better understanding of what we're actually doing, and so that they can understand how it will impact them for the better. Because a lot of the time, the clients have no idea what UX is, what the purpose of it is, what the benefits of it are. So they don't see why they need to do it. But afterwards, after they've gone through the process with us, they can see, I suppose, the benefits of it and why it's a valuable thing for their product or service. How do we do it then? So I suppose because we're a creative team, we need to have a space that allows us to collaborate with each other and also collaborate with our clients. So pre-pandemic, we would have hosted workshops in our UX lab, otherwise known to us as the fishbowl. So you can see pictures of it here. We have an interactive whiteboard. We have these hexagon-shaped tables. We have sticky notes, markers, pencils. You know, it's really bright, really fun and colourful. And it's a good informal place where you can get creative and you can talk things out and be collaborative with the team, basically. But obviously, since the pandemic, since 2020, we've had to change things slightly. So we've adapted towards a hybrid model now, transforming our co-design and collaborative activities and workshops and training for online delivery. So we use things such as Miro to do this. This allowed us and also our clients to have greater flexibility, whether it was online or in person. And also currently we're working towards the launch of a VR, a virtual reality or augmented reality lab within the Nimbus Centre. So our achievements then, so as a department, we've worked with over 200 companies delivering over 150 projects, and we continue to grow year on year. So we've helped our clients to secure investment, to launch new products and to expand their business. But I think more importantly, we've taught them and helped them to learn how user-centred design and UX research methods can be applied to understand and to empathize with their customers, with their end users, generating more desirable and impactful solutions. Thank you very much.
The language that I needed. So take a look around MTU or CIT and IT Tralee at the time. What we could see was that there was a lot of design actually happening across the campuses. But it was happening in a siloed way. We could see that design thinking was happening in engineering. In Tralee, there was a program certificate in designing of services that we developed, creative thinking and design modules. interior architecture, construction as well. We've seen a development of the physical infrastructure in the college as well, where when I started teaching, I was staying late on a Friday afternoon, shifting desks around and putting magic whiteboards on the walls to try and create kind of interactive spaces for students on a Saturday morning. And then we started to see more classrooms being built in a more of a kind of a flexible environment, which allows for people to work in not just kind of these horizontal spaces, but white space, vertical spaces on the wall as well, and to be able to move around in a classroom is very important. Our friends in the schools of science and engineering then were allowed us to start using their design thinking room for my service design program in the last few years. And again, what we can see, there's clear benefits from a space like this in terms of the seating arrangements, the access to computers, the easy access to vertical spaces for interacting and drawing and testing out ideas quickly and engaging, and even to work in an environment like that is engaging and inspiring, So in 2020, I sent out a survey in 2020 just to people's emails, and yourselves, emails are packed, not everyone sees it, but I had 61 responses. But if we look at the departments, then we're seeing creative media, biological sciences, social sciences, I think nursing is in there, physical sciences, sports, leisure. Absolutely every department across the university is interested in design thinking and the application of design thinking. I suppose the future for the MTU user-centred design learning community is cross-university collaboration. There's a new program just started being launched in the Department of Electronic Engineer, Smart Product Engineering, that is integrating the business aspects of design thinking and validation and innovation into the program, so that students are qualifying or graduating with an electronic engineering skill set. But they also have this, I suppose, an element of systems thinking, design thinking, and I suppose innovation mindset integrated into that program design as well. So it's very exciting to see that being launched this year. I suppose what we want to do is learn what works within our academic environment, external academic environments, what's happening with industry, what can we learn from industry, can we get involved in design challenges and contribute towards design challenges. I suppose part of this as well is, it's creating a movement. I think there is a movement already happening in Ireland around user-centred design, and hopefully a learning community or maybe a learning community of learning communities could be a nice way to kind of ramp up that movement. And then after that, it's about creating a mandate in terms of, do we have support at a senior leadership kind of level to execute design and innovation and introduce us to in academic settings, but also to use us to solve a lot of the problems that we talked about today. But if you're interested in, I suppose, becoming part of, it's not just an MTU learning center, user-centred design learning community. We want to open this up to anyone and everyone, because there's so much opportunities to learn from what we have inside the university, but also to learn outside the university.
Thank you for watching the highlights from the launch event for the MTU User-Centred Design Learning Community. If you would like to join the community, I've added a link to a Google form in the video description below, so please feel free to sign up, and we would love to find out how we could help you to learn more about user-centred design.